friends. I hope you've had a great day today. I got to tell you, what a day. You know, there's just always so much drama in this world, right? So this morning, I don't know if you saw my short video where there's 4 police officers looking for a Hispanic guy in a blue sweatshirt and also, pants, blue pants as well, But anyway, and so, I talked to them briefly. So that was the beginning of the drama. And boy, there was just police all day long today. I mean, not kidding you. The day after Mother's Day, there must have been a lot of activity today for catching up, because I'm not telling you, there was just police everywhere I went. They were scouring and moving and just a lot of activity. Well, anyway, so, the vibes are terrible today. And so I went down to LA Fitness a couple hours ago. And then some guy freaking trying to entice me, an energy vampire, a demon. This guy starts insulting me and causing me issues. He's trying to get me to fight him, not kidding you. A huge guy. Yeah, just briefly, I don't want to go on the whole story on this one, but he basically takes a speaker while I'm in the pool. And I'm on the edge of the pool, and he comes up and sticks up a speaker, one of those, long cylinder ones, right in front of my face, and turns up heavy metal as loud as he could, trying to get me to entice him and to battle with him, right? And, it was just ridiculous. So I walked away, just got out of the pool and walked away. Normally, I don't like, I'll stand up for myself and not put up that kind of crap, but I'm just not in the mood. And by the way, I just don't feed them. Do not entertain demons. I'm done. Don't entertain them. I'm seriously, just walk away. You got to choose your battles, my friends. Choose your battles. That's one I'm not going to. So the demonic evil, it's increasing. I'm not kidding you. It's like it's almost a daily incident anymore. I'm not kidding you. I mean, the evil forces are just trying everything they can. They entice you, they attack you, they do stupid stuff like that where you can't enjoy yourself, right? Well, anyway, so I'm moving on. And they'll use any excuse, by the way, to try to get you to attack them, right? Make up stories, lies, where they can, just walk away, right? Anyway, so I got to throw that out there because I'm a little exhausted. So I want to do something tonight about the spiritual stuff versus, because I do, remember, I'm all over the place. I have all these different things I've got going on. I cover festivals, I cover things. I try to stay the positive stuff. I'm trying to do more because we want to feed that negativity. But there's something I want to bring up with you that's really cool. And this is more of a positive thing, just kind of something interesting. Now, last night I was watching a video and about this lady right here. And she is amazing. So this is, you can go back and look at this. You can just do a YouTube search, look for this, the holographic virtual reality. Anyway, I was listening to her, and the reason I got very interested because she has a very close experiences to things I have done, where she's actually communicated with the other side, and you may have too. So I'm not trying to say I'm special, but she said some key things that really led to me to understanding, where she was told the same thing by the controllers and the ones above, that we're in a simulation, a hologram. This is all just it's all a simulation. And so now everybody's gonna be screaming, "Oh my God, Kirk, that means Christianity." No. So you don't understand. I'm not insulting Christians. I'm not insulting the Buddhists, the Hindus, or anybody like that, because the spiritual world is real. But you got to understand that we are in a simulation, and we know that by looking through the process of elimination. It's real, my friends. It makes sense, right? And now, so I'm gonna talk a little about her. Then I want to move into Orbs, because she actually talks about Orbs. But I want to cover this first about, I listened to her the whole thing. And usually I don't listen to everybody's things, but I had to listen to the whole thing, everything she had to say. I agreed with her about 50% of the stuff, and 50% I didn't. Okay, so she said that somebody came to her and started communicating to her directly. That was her name was Lilu, right? Lilu, and she said that Lilu was on the ones outside of this realm and this reality that that is beyond all of this universe and dimensions. That they were they're trying to help manage this simulation and trying to control it from this outside other realm, right? And so it was kind of interesting her take on that. She said that there were several people, even friends and families, all these other ones on the outside of this reality, trying to help us, the ones that are awake and fully aware, and the ones that we know that we're kind of in a simulation stuff. And so she goes through that whole thing. I don't have time to redo everything about it, But I agree with everything a lot of things she said, and especially about being communicated from the other side with Lilu. Now, the person who came to me was the Lord, not kidding you. He was the one that first approached me and told me that, this is, of course, over 3 years. Last time I spoke to him in Phoenix, Arizona, when I was there, that was over, oh my gosh, it's almost 2 years ago now, that I asked him point blank if we were in a simulation. He said, yes, you are, Kirk. And because I told him, I said, it's not going to matter because this is my reality. When I told him, I said, I'm going to deal with this either way. But I said, you got to be honest with me. What's going on here? I said, are we in a simulation? He said, yes, Kirk, you are. And I thought, oh my gosh, that is mind-boggling. Now, see, that doesn't mean that the Lord ain't real, right? And it doesn't mean that she's not talking to some Lilu. But the fact that I had that communicated me from the Lord, it sunk in pretty deep there for a moment. It took me 2 years to really to settle into, because even if I heard that from the Lord, I have to still do an evaluation of things and am I really talking to the Lord? Are these the truth words of the Lord? So I spent almost a year and a half before I really got deep into accepting it. Everything I've slowly accepted, even the Mandela effect, I had to cross-check everything before I finally said, yes, this is a real thing, and had to see multiple. I'm not kidding you. See multiple instances before I will accept something. I have a very good rejection of things because I want to make sure that I have a good foundation before I adopt some kind of thing. And I could, because I've adopted things wrong, right? And I could still be wrong at all this. I might come back, so don't hold me to everything, because I might come back and say, oh my God, I made a mistake, folks. But to this journey, this path, this spiritual thing, this is pretty much confirmed, looking at different aspects and looking at all the different religion, all the different things we know, and the way that this world has been managed, and all the resets, and looking at history, philosophy, and all these things. It's pretty much confirmed to my mindset whether that's a simulation. Now, Brother Raleigh, he's in Boise, Idaho. He will not accept it, and he says, Kirk, you're still wrong about that. Well, that's okay, right? We have different opinions. And like I said, I could be wrong, but no, I'm about 99.99% sure on this, okay? So about this, about what she was talking about, because I want to focus on this for a minute. The only thing that I think she's missing, she talked about how, it's where we got this whole realm of that's all being managed, manipulated, just like a computer system. And she's correct, but she misses a couple things. She never talks about NPCs. She makes the assumption that everybody out there in the entire world that they're just not awake yet. And I'm telling you right now, friends, there will be people that will never wake up no matter what you do. It's just not a part of the system, and I don't know why. I can't explain it. You can spend your entire lifetime, because apparently she hasn't tried to wake people up and have them take a download. And 1 minute they listen to, next it is thrown out the next day. They're completely gone, different person. They take a download, and I've had friends, families, whatever, and they immediately will. You think you got to convert it to believe to what you think is true. I shouldn't say believe, because we shouldn't believe in anything. But once you got them to some of these truths, they immediately turn on you, and all of a sudden they're gone the next day. They completely reject everything you said, and sometimes you get angry, aggressive, or whatever. You guys seen this, even if you're being light-footed with your tongue or whatever, they can be very offended by it, right? So you don't push people down that path. You let them do their own journey. But I found it surprising that she never mentions about the NPC part, when that's a big part of this realm in this game, right? We call them human prison bars. Some people call them pod people, whatever. Remember, I'm not trying to insult them. Don't ever insult them. They're just in a different type of being here on Earth, right? And so anyway, the fact that was one thing that kind of led me a little bit, questioning her and some of the things she was speaking about. And then there were some other things that she talked about that really, she talked about what was the purpose. And they said that the purpose was to learn freedom versus free will. Well, okay, now here's the thing is, whether they said that was the whole reason they created this realm, the simulation, was that you and I, true divine beings, and also the ones on the other side, were trying to learn about free will versus freedom. Well, That's a lot of effort for those two efforts, right? For those two things, because now this is where I'm going to have to disagree with her, because that could be one of the things that's happening here. But I'm telling you, this is going to repeat. You are living a script. You are living a script. It does. I'm seriously, I don't know how to make this. Things, you look around history, there's too much coincidence. Even the gentleman that does Decode Your Reality, many people have proven that there's too many things that are just weird birth dates, weird deaths, weird this, weird that. There's too many coincidences that are beyond just a normal coincidence that something is controlling it. It's part of a script. It's a problem. And like even the music, how everything's been written, it's got messages in it, even reverse play messages of music, songs, this, that. There is just no way that all this, that people just behaving on their own independent thought and free will in this world, mentioned free will and freedom to do what they want, that these things would have fell in place exactly where we are today in this moment in time. It is impossible. It is impossible. Look at Matt from Quantum Consciousness. He talks about all the time. He said, boy, it is so fake. It is just amazing that people can't see through the veil of this fake reality. And Matt does a great job, by the way. He does a really good job of decoding and analyzing how everything is just complete garbage. See, I told you one time, it's kind of like an artificial, that everything is already under artificial intelligence. I'm not kidding you. That there is a computer system that is operating the beast system that is just completely got this program just constantly rolling forward, script by script, every darn one, and trying to readjust you. Because I'm not kidding you. Every time that I've been hitting another angle and trying to reposition myself in this world, boy, I have been immediately shut down and doors slammed shut, bomb, this and that. So you can take your free will and maybe part of this game is to learn how to break ourselves out of the script and out of that and so that we truly have free will and freedom, okay? But the fact that people can gloss over that just is mind-boggling, right? And another thing too that really that I find shocking is that some of the real truthers, we're not talking about this new age garbage about, manifest this and manifest that, and you manifest your reality. We can influence reality, and we are creators. That's what she talked about this. But you got to realize that those are within limitations that currently I'm aware of, that we are limited to how much we can. I can't just snap my fingers and make the moon just turn into another sun or something, right? Another planet. That there are laws to this script, and there's rules to this game. Now, that's why this manifest your reality stuff, you got to realize, boy, I think half these are NPCs and liars, because they're putting you down a rabbit hole. Because I've just seen it over and over again that I don't see them actually truly manifesting a greater life. And every one of them, they always want subscriptions, this and that, give me your money. And I've never talked to one person that's actually went and tried to follow their following. Other than that's how you manifest and be rich, is because they sell you the dang lie, and then you're going to pay them, right? And I can't even describe to you how many are doing that. It's sick, disgusting. All right. So back to this. Now there is I can't remember, is it Tom Campbell or one of these guys? He talked about how it's a simulation, it's a computer program too. But he talks about that you can manipulate this simulation, he talks about. And I thought, oh, good, I'm going to get some real meat here. How do we find the exit door? How do we really get control of this thing going on here? And guess what? Oh, he talks about like everybody else. He says, well, if you dream something and you pursue it and take an action, well, okay. That's typical, just average person goes out, they want to start a business, go out and try to start a business. And we got that piece. Another one talks about doing astral projections and all these other things. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Dream states. Well, of course, you can go into dream state and dream all you want. Dream that you own a boat and you're selling it. And I'm not saying you shouldn't do that. Maybe that's your escape of enjoying this reality, is to, hey, I'm on my own little Gilligan's Island, and I'm seeing palm trees, and I'm swinging in a hammock, and put that in a dream state, and like daydreaming. And yes, that is a reality, because dreams are a reality. It's where your thought and your mind is at the time. like I said, it is a real world to you because that's what your thought is and that's what you are envisioning. So yes, that is, just as somebody who comes up with some amazing stories and some amazing bullcrap about things they envision. And boy, I tell you what, it's I'm like, how do you achieve those dream states of how much, I mean, it's so lying. Like, well, I flew to Mars and met some Martians and talked to them the other day, and I had a great time, and I met all these other people, this green and purple, and to them, it's real. It's reality. You know, whether they're mentally ill, God, I can't really, you know, you can say they are, but, you know, is it really, you know, it's just a reality they're in. This whole world's mentally ill, right? So yes, you can. So that's the kind of steps he's taking. I've heard that before, that, you know, even astral projection is a fake to me. It's one of those things where you're projecting out there and you're creating a dream state or whatever, you know what I mean? And it's not a true realm, in my opinion. I think it's another trap. And most people that do astral projections, they end up finally finding out there's demons and evilness and whatever, right? Especially people like you taking DMT, and I'm sorry, and all this other drugs just to achieve a different reality. Well, of course, even drinking beer, you enter an altered state, a different reality itself. So I don't consider that a true natural way to do. And I've actually come across some of those, said, boy, you know, to really become spiritual, you got to really hit the drugs hard, my friend, and even take some acid. No, you don't. That is going to fry your brain and cause you issues. Don't do that, okay? You don't need drugs to be spiritual. God, I'm living proof of it, right? And I'm sure you are too, you know, so don't give me that. You know, I mean, I'm so tired. Well, man, I really got to get spiritual, so I got to start pounding some drugs. Yeah, you're going to get spiritual, all right, in many ways, and you're going to do some damage. So anyway, I'm sorry, I went way off topic on this, but when I get going, I like to, you know, I like to spread what I think and my thoughts and, you know, what I feel is true. All right, so back to this thing. So, you know, there's things like that I'm not trying to insult her, you know, I'm not trying to tell her that I'm right and she's wrong. I'm just trying to tell you that from what we know, and you know, there's many people backing my thoughts versus, you know, just her on her own, you know, about her own thoughts. But like I said, the fact that she's, you know, doesn't have this broader context, kind of concerning, right? And it concerns me that she doesn't see these other things. But she is very good because we learn pieces of information from those people. The same thing was I found her very similar to myself and her experiences that she went through. Like Jean talked about the Mandela effect. What I found, okay, now this is where I'm going to talk to you about this a little bit. Now this is where it's important. I'm going to go ahead and lead into orbs. She talked about orbs. Now she saw the same thing I saw, that around 2015, the fall of 2016, there was no such thing as orbs on this reality earth or timeline that I'm serious. I can do Google searches. I know how regular expressions works. I searched YouTube. I searched everything for orbs, and I could not find any piece of information. The only video at that time that you can find on YouTube that had the word orb in it was there's a black lady. No, I'm not being racist, but you always got to clarify because I was, oh my God. Well, anyway, because it puts it in the context of the culture, right? And she was in a hospital, and her mother has passing away, and she had a video with her cell phone showing all these things floating around. That's the first time I saw orbs, and she didn't call them orbs. She said, these orbs are over here to help guide my mother to the other side. And she had all these orbs. I mean, it was amazing. You could tell that this lady did not have the skill set, or, you know, didn't have not trying to insult her, but didn't have the equipment to create a CGI or artificially introduce these orbs floating around. And so her mother passes away and the orbs leave. And I thought, wow. And I don't know if that video still exists. I don't know, because that was over, gosh, almost 4 years ago when I saw this, right? Well, anyway, so back in 2016, I saw that video, right? And because I had seen some orbs and I couldn't figure out what was going on. I saw them with my naked eye, also saw them with my video camera. And I saw those in the area. I'd go out at night and I'd take my camera and I'd see an orb and I'd take a video of it and take a snapshot. I said, what are these things? I said, God, what are they? You know, I said, what are all these orbs? And that time all I was seeing was white orbs or even clear like orbs, okay? Now, this is what she claims, what orbs, why they came in 2016. Same for her. She said orbs were not existent here, and all of a sudden they started popping in. She said they started popping everywhere. She claims that, now she talks about the reincarnation trap, which I'm a follower of, by the way. I think the whole follow the light and reincarnation, it is a trap to get you recycled back here on Earth, right? But so she talked about the reincarnation trap, and she said that's what the orbs were, actually that we did somehow. I don't know, we here on Earth or somebody did. She said shut down that gate of the light gate, and also the gate to the way she describes it for reincarnation, so that all those souls that originally used to go the other side all of a sudden they had nowhere to go, so they were trapped here on Earth and kind of floating around like lost souls everywhere. And then she said then somebody came back and fixed it and opened up that gate again through the correct means, and all of a sudden all our ancestors and stuff passed on the other side. But she said that's why there's diminishing orbs now. I don't know. Now, I haven't looked for orbs lately, but she said they're diminishing now because that gate's open and all this other stuff. And I thought, well, okay. Now, let me address this first off. Now, here's the reason I don't think that there was a reincarnation, that it was stopping of the reincarnation, because that there's different types of orbs she fails to understand. That there are orbs that we saw that were attacking the chemtrails, that we had videos of people of having large, like, I'm trying to think, like basketball size and sometimes even larger orbs that were attacking chemtrails to help stabilize that situation, kind of creating a balance mechanism, kind of like angels, kind of in an orb sense, and then actually fly up there and then just like smack into a chemtrail, and then all of a sudden it dissipate to some extent in that area. It dissipate, and all of a sudden the orb be gone, boom, like just like explode part of its energy. Now, also that we have different color of orbs. We've got, yellow, green, blue, red, all these different orbs. Originally, I only saw white orbs, and now I have seen a couple different other color orbs. Yes, I have yellow, red. Okay. Now, here's the thing also about the orbs, that the pictures that I have gotten, see, I don't have them on this phone. Now you can say, oh, Kirk, you're just a liar because you don't have photographs. But anyway, that when I look inside those orbs, there were literally heads in them. I'm not kidding you, heads. I saw lady heads, I saw men heads, and I was like, oh my God. I said, why are there heads inside orbs? It's kind of like at Disneyland, where one of the rides at the haunted house, where where the witch's head inside the orb. And now I'm thinking there was a communication, that's something we lost in history. That's why I always had the witch talking inside a crystal ball, because that is a spiritual trueness right there, right? So I'm going to explain more. The head of, like I said, the witch that you always see in the crystal orb talking, right? You got to be kidding me. Now I'm going to head something what I think is. So anyway, but let me not go too far into that for a second. That I saw, one of the first orbs that I had looked at was a gentleman. It was like a miner. You could tell by his look, just had the miner type hat. He had this beard. You could tell he just looked like a miner way back in like the 1850s or whatever, right? And I saw that when I zoomed in on one of my pictures that I'd taken that nobody else, that's why I'm dying myself. It had a miner's head in it. I said, oh my God, this guy's back from the 1800s at that time. This is back in 2016 time frame. Now, see, that's the thing is that, now why would that an older gentleman be there if she, like she said that it was part of the reincarnation trap, that we'd all had newer type, more modern type of people's heads in those orbs. If those things hadn't, why would these be back to 1850s? You know what I mean? That this guy floating around, that whole story about orbs didn't come into existence until the reincarnation thing was stopped with that, with the light or door or whatever she was explaining. That's not true, because this individual with this little head, this guy wouldn't because that's a different time frame in 1850s whatever. But here's the thing is, it is true what she said, though, they did not exist. So that one's hard to put those two pieces of the puzzle together, other than that that we've opened up a dimension to the other side, and these orbs are started coming in through the dimension. There's like a blending of into our reality, that because almost like all this all this spiritual stuff, all this gateway was opened up. I mean, there was things like succubuses, all these things that you never really heard of. All these different types of spiritual things and terminology, spiritual things, and all this stuff just exploded in 2016. Okay, and thereafter, the past couple of years, like even the Mandela effect, boy, that just took off. And I told you that there was only 2 videos when I first looked at those. There was one about John F. Kennedy, and then a Berenstein later on. And I've actually proven that by doing Google to get a history record of when people started searching for Mandela effect, and that was around 2015. I think the fall was the first search ever. That was like one search at that time frame. And but anyway, so it's like even those orbs, these all of a sudden just started occurring in all of this. So, like I said, there's orbs that have different purposes. We think there's orbs that may wander around in gardens, helping maintaining, keeping the life energy of gardens and roses, and other orbs might be, like you said, for the sky. There's other orbs that might actually be guides to, like this black lady with her mother, to guide somebody to the other side, because it's obvious these orbs are all there. And I've seen orbs, flying above my head. I was out in Vail, Colorado, in Denver in the winter one time, and about 100 yards above me, these suckers were flying towards Denver in emergency, like they were on a mission. Just hundreds of them, just white shining orbs, just boom, taking off towards Denver. And I was about, about 3.5 or 4 hours in the mountains, out in a crisp snow-covered ground, but a clear sky, and it's boom, flying by at a high speed to Denver. And I was like, well, they must be on a mission. And anyway, and like I said, I've seen so many different faces inside these orbs, and I don't mean to keep repeating that, and colors that we just don't know what these orbs are. And there was even I met a guy that had one of the pyramids in Peru. He was doing a video. He was actually there just trying to explore the pyramid, and there was a ton of orbs floating around in this pyramid. And he just brought up as a side conversation. He said, oh man, he goes, look at this video we have, all these orbs floating around. And he said they're just all inside this pyramid. So that's what's interesting. Why are orbs in all these really special places like pyramids, or people see orbs near, I hate to say it, cemeteries, or really hot spots for historical things, or where we expect kind of unusual activity. Now, pyramids is unusual. Is pyramids a gateway that we're not aware of? Seriously, think about it. Is that a way, or is that where they get energy? These orbs? Okay. Anyway, so that's what we don't know, but there's something about that. It's something maybe that they get energy from pyramids or something, and because there's hundreds and hundreds when this guy had this video of this, and they have found that there was some frequencies again with this pyramids, even though it look like there's nothing. The ones that he's looking at in Peru, they look like, he said they quantum waves that go faster than the speed of light. By the way, quantum waves. They were measuring them. But anyway. So here's the thing. So now I'm going to ask you. So it's like my mother asked me, and she said, "Well, why would there only be an orb like a bubble with somebody's head in it?" And I thought, well, I don't know, because think about though. This is just my guess. I don't know that to recognize somebody is you're going to recognize mostly by their head, like this lady here, right? You don't really arms. If you just had the arms or feet or legs or body, you don't really recognize who arms, legs, or that body belong to, unless you have a face that goes with that body. So if you just take somebody's head away, they just have a body, you really couldn't identify that person. That's one thing, I think, because it gives you identification of who that person is inside that orb. We know what they look like. That's symbolic of who they are. Now, another thing too, as I think about, is that's where your conscience is. It's in your brain. It's we don't know how all this works, but that's where we think that all thought, mindset, and all this consciousness or conscience, that in your reality is all in your head. So that's probably why also that they're encased in a bubble, right? And so that's another thing too. Now, that's part of, so two things: identification of what the individual face looks like, who they represent, and also the other one is Like I said, because that's the conscience. It's their the thing that they took within their memory, their who they are, and their spiritual being. You know what I mean? Is also in that orb. Now, why does it have a bubble? I don't know. It's something, maybe that's where they have to transition into this reality. That they can only come into this reality with us if they're encased in a bubble, right? And it might, you know what I mean? And it might be that, it's something about how that all works. You know what I mean? I don't know. See, we don't know why they're in these bubbles, other than maybe it's either to keep them in their dimensional spiritual being inside that crystal, or the other one is also maybe the way they engage with us is that and also travel. Maybe it's the way that they can move around is in this bubble. Which is a side note too, is that maybe that's how they travel, through being this bubble. You know what I mean? Somehow they have to move. It's many things. It's like a force field, a shield around them, and also the way they move or something, right? But I was going to tell you that there has been UFOs now that have been spotted that they describe them as spheres now, not just the old saucers, which is really crazy because we've gone through this before, that we've gone from this progression to a dinner plate history to now we have these really sophisticated UFOs, which brings the whole alien UFO thing into question, because I find it highly amazing that they matched our reality and our mindsets to mimic exactly the capability of the times. You know what I mean? Even the movies, it's like, they used to be these old, like, green alien men and these saucer shaping things, and now they're really high tech, because we have CGI as well. So the ones being seen, and they know, even the movies are high tech aliens, and these aliens that people even witness. They say, "Oh, I saw this high tech alien boy flying across the sky the other day." You know what I mean? They're talking about ones that look like starfighters, cigar shapes, and also even orbs, like spheres. Okay. So anyway, so let's go look at real quick here, if I can, on some orbs. And this is way longer than I thought. But anyway, so see now, back then you could never ever search for orbs in whatsoever, right? And no, it wasn't just a site they didn't talk about, because now you got photographs there. So here they talk about ghost orbs. Let's see if we can see any faces in there. I don't see any. No, I'm trying to. I should have had one beforehand, but the thing is that, and you can go just Google this yourself to take a look. I'm trying to see if there's any. These are not very close up, and I actually talked to a guy one time that was aware of orbs, and he was telling me that he wanted to get them in 3-dimensional. That everybody's taking photographs only 2-dimensional. I met him in Colorado. That he was trying to get equipment set up to do 3-dimensional photographs of them. But what is weird about it, every time I took a photograph of an orb, that the face is always like turned towards me. You know what I mean? And so it makes you wonder too if they're always facing towards you, or what happens. Maybe that's why sometimes you won't see a face in an orb, because maybe the way it appears in the orb is not. It's not turned towards you, or it manifests itself in that direction there, right? Now, let's see if you can see any here. See, like here, I can't really see any faces. There's like one there, maybe. That one, the dead center, see that? You see 2 eyes and a mouth. I can't hold it there, but see the one that's got most color there? It looks like there might be 2 eyes and a mouth like going, like wide open there. See? Oh, there is something up in the one above here. Darn it! I mean, they see those up there. Look at this. I'm sorry. I can't do. There is a face in that one. See there? It looks like he's holding a stick with a bag. Okay. And you're probably like, what am I talking about? I'm gonna see if I can grab it somehow. I'm sorry, my friends. But anyway, let me pause it and I'll store it off. Oh. Okay, my friends. I just downloaded. Let me pull it back again so you can see that. I just downloaded someone that somebody had, right? And look at this. This one is kind of interesting. You can actually see something in there. Let me do my little stick here. You'll see this head. It looks like a hat. I'm going to put the hat here, then a face, and I'm drawing over it, and then a stick, and then he's holding on to something there, which is weird. So let me clear that again. Okay. So let me zoom in here. See that? You can see a little nose and eye, and it looks like he's holding on to a stick. Now that doesn't make any sense. I've never seen one actually holding on to something. Is that some kind of Is that what he does? See here, you can see the head right there, right? And you see the stick, and then holding on to like some bag at the end of the stick. I mean, is that kind of some kind of, why would they be doing that? So let me pull back there. See that? You can clearly see that is some kind of head and with a hat and something like that, right? Isn't that crazy? Let's see if there's any. Whoa, let's see if there's another one here. This one's it's really blurry. You can kind of see something in there with its mouth open here. So you can see a mouth kind of open and a couple of eyes up here, but it's not very clear, right? And let's see. But anyway, let's see if there's any other. That one's really clear, the other one. But anyway, if you do that, like I said, there's tons of different examples, different faces. Oh, yeah, actually, you can see somebody facing that one even too. Kind of turned here. See right here, you can see this. See the head right there with an eye. There's a nose kind of, and there's an eye in the face. Let's see here. Yeah, you can definitely see there's something in there inside that one as well. Pull back and see that. Anyway, I hope you can see that. Which I'll hold steady. Well, anyway, so there's definitely something in there. But anyway, I could go through a ton of them, but you can explore them if you have more interest in stuff like that. It looks like these color ones are the silver white orbs, but we don't know exactly how this photo is taken. But yeah, this is definitely clear. And this thing too is, like I said, also some orbs that come out of volcanoes and stuff like that. I mean, Brother Raleigh, he said they were huge. He went up there years ago, and it was actually in 2000. I think he said 2016 or 2017, because he never seen orbs before. And what was interesting about that, because he went up to Washington, right? He drove all the way from Idaho, and because he heard about these orbs that were coming out of an extinct volcano up there. And boy, he said, my God, these things were coming out of the mountain. He hiked up there, and one actually flipped his face. He said the size of a beach ball. And he's not a liar, by the way. He always tells the truth. And they flew up to his face, and he said it was kind of like glowing orange. And it just kind of sat there in front of him. Then it took off really fast. It scared him. So he went running down this hill. He said, because he said, I was so scared. He said, it scared me. But he said there was tons of them, blue, green, huge ones like that. But he said it was interesting before he went there that it was in a small town. So he came through a small town because he'd heard about it. And it said it was really famous that people claimed they'd been going there for years, right? And he went into like a gas station. There's an elderly gentleman there, And he said they talked to this guy. He goes, hey, he goes, I'm traveling through. He goes, can you tell me where this location's at? And the guy goes, well, why do you want to go there? It was near some kind of farm, homestead place, or some kind of, wasn't really a ranch. He said like some kind of old homestead or something, right? Farming homestead that everybody knew in the small town. It was up on this hill, like this little mountainous hill area. And the guy, so he told the guy, he said, hey, I want to look there. And he said, because there's the orbs. And the guy goes, what? What are you talking about? He goes, yeah. He goes, well, and Raleigh was taken back because everybody should have known. See, they have hundreds of visitors traveling through this town just to go see these orbs almost every night during the summertime. And he said this guy had no idea what he was even talking about. And he's surprised nobody ever asked to even come to the gas station. He's like, what's going on here, right? He said it's one of those things that's just a mystery. And he said, and this guy, you can tell he lived there for almost his entire life. I think he even asked him, he goes, how long you lived here? And the guy said, I don't know, most of my entire life. And he goes, you don't know anything about these orbs? The guy goes, nope. He goes, I don't know what you're talking about. And he said, so I tried to explain to him. And he goes, well, I don't know. I never heard anything about that. And he said, I never heard anything like those. And he said the guy probably thought I lost my mind. It was crazy, right? Now, that's what I'm going to bring up another topic, because it's so, you think, God, I'm going so long about this, but there's so much I want to talk about that, and I'm sorry this is so lengthy. But one of the things I want to mention too is that the festival that I went to with the puppet festival a couple weekends ago was interesting. That there was this old house. And what was amazing about this house was that I can read. Remember, I told you I can read people, places, and many things. Whether if there's spiritual significance to these things. I mean, I've done it over time. I mean, I've not even known towns. I'd be driving down the road and talking to some locals that I just met, and I said, "Oh, that house right there." I said, "That dang thing's haunted." And it's not even just by the look. I mean, it's not like it'd be an old house with the Adams family with the fence around. I could just sense, and I actually had that in Flagstaff, Arizona, with one of my friends when I first met him. His name is Michael. That we were driving through the Flagstaff, and there was this normal brown-looking house on this one street. I said, man, I said, what is wrong with that house? I said, something is really, really bad there. And he goes, oh my God. Because I told him I had this gift. And they're the ones that showed me the side, by the way. It's a gift that we worked together. And he goes, you're kidding. I said, what? He goes, you wouldn't believe it happened in that house. He said there was a massive, murders about 3 years ago. And it says horrible. He said, 5 people died in there. And he says, it says horrifying. In a smaller community of Flagstaff. I mean, this is pretty big, but it's smaller. He goes, how in the world did you read that? I said, well, I don't know. And he started telling me a story. He said some guy did this. And I said, but I don't want to hear any more. And he goes, oh, God, buddy. He goes, that house, they said they had to empty nobody buy the thing for 2 years. They ended up having to rent it out or something. He said, it's so horrible. He goes, I can't believe out of all these houses, you picked that one right off the bat. Because I told him I had that gift. And he said, I want to see it. So anyway, like I said, it's a gift they give me. It's unique. So anyway, I'm headed to some of the story. So there was this house, and it was built in the 30s or 40s, whatever, in California, right? And so yes, it had an old look to begin with, which old houses tend to be kind of spiritual because a lot of people live there, a lot of activity. But there is ones that I've seen. There's nothing in there, that they're empty, right? There's the one that's completely empty that they claim is haunted in San Diego, in Old Town. It's such a lie. There's nothing in this old house. And they actually sell tours, haunted tours, and every day. It's not even during Halloween. Every day they call it ghost tours, this house. Well, anyway, so I saw this thing, and I got chills immediately. I start freaking out. I'm like, oh my God, this thing's got spirits and things all in the darn place. I said, what's going on here, right? So anyway, I start talking to this lady and I said, oh my God, this house. She goes, what? She goes, I live there. I said, oh, you do? She goes, yes, I live there. I said, you're kidding me. I said, well, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to insult you, but this thing is, there's some other people standing next to me, just passerbyers. She goes, no, she didn't say anything. I just said, I didn't mean to insult you. And I said, or, your house, but I said, that place is haunted. She goes, well, I don't know. I never seen anything. I said, you're kidding. She goes, nope, never. She goes, I've lived. I said, how long you lived there? And she goes, well, we've lived there for over 15 years. And it's a museum, by the way. Sorry, I should clarify that. It is a museum now that they have people come in, and it's a house that's been converted to a museum. And I said, you have got to be, you said, you haven't seen one thing ever? She goes, no. And she goes, and then she had her 2 children there. And they're actually older, because she's, I'll give you the idea, I think she's probably around 78 or something. And the children were probably in their 40s, 45. And they said, oh yeah, we've lived there for over 15 years, never seen anything. I said, wow. I said, that is amazing. I said, not even anything unusual? They said, nope. And I said, okay, well, I said, I said, that's surprising. And because I told you, my friends, I'm really good at this. And I've investigated the Stanley Hotel that The Shining is based off of. I've gone through every, a ton of places across the nation. And, being new there, people not even tell me the story behind these places, and be able to tell them, who was there, lady, man, what was happening, all these other things, right? And, well, anyway, here's where I'm at with the story. So you're asking, well, why would they see this? And I'll tell you why. Because it's like a radio station that if you see, you're operating at a higher frequency now. So you can see a lot of spiritual things, right? And they're not operating at the frequency that you and I are in the spiritual realm. So they probably, because I have seen ghosts, right? And there's probably a couple reasons for that. Number one, that you have to be operating at a higher frequency to experience these things, and also to see that and realize that, because even there is biblical stories, even I can't remember if it was Lord or maybe one of them, I can't remember the story about coming down a road and these, they had two choices to make with the donkey. I don't know if you guys remember the story. Anyway, and they said, which way should we go? And this guy goes, don't want to go that way. Don't you see all those evil spirits down that road? And the guy goes, no, I can't see anything. What are you talking about? He said, we go to the left here. Even the donkey, smarter than you, can see that we shouldn't go that direction, or mule or whatever it was. And they go, what? And sure enough, and then they said, well, and because they couldn't see the spiritual realm. So that's what I'm saying. Also, that I have a real true belief, because I have spoken to, I don't want to spend it during this video, but I have talked to ghosts very rarely, but I have a couple times in my life. And you're going to say, well, you're talking to demons. Well, come on, I don't want to go there, okay? But I want to tell you this, that I have seen them and spoke to them, and that they may not present themselves to you even. A spirit or a ghost will never present themselves to you unless you give them that energy and you're awake to that frequency. So it's like being tuned into 98.6 FM, that you're operating at that, and somebody else is operating at 50 FM radio, right? So you're operating a higher realm in the spiritual realm, so you're going to have interactions and see these things and be exposed to them. See, that's the things I'm going to tell you, that you're probably going to draw this in, because then, it's like you can see this stuff, and they know that you can see this. Because once you become awake to the spiritual world, it becomes kind of a nightmare real quick. It becomes a nightmare very quick, because it's like the Matrix. You take the, I can't remember which pill it is, the red or green one, the red pill, all of a sudden, wow, the whole world, it shifts, the whole spiritual world all of a sudden becomes, you've removed the veil, and they know that you've removed the veil. It's kind of like you're glowing now, like a light bulb in the dark, okay? So the reason I bring that up is that there are some people, they will never ever see ghosts their entire life. Never will. Not even if a ghost is probably standing right next to you, or you see a ghost, they may never see it. It's just they're not operating the same frequency as you are. Okay? And so anyway, that's all I have to say about that. And I actually told the people, you probably think this is wrong. I said, there you go, free will. I said, forget everything I said, because I told them, I said, you're probably better off. I probably meant this. I truly meant this. You're probably better off not knowing that about the spiritual realm. So I said, enjoy your house and keep on enjoying yourself. Don't jinx somebody, folks. Let them discover and wander on their own. Okay? All right. Love you all. Take care.